I'm all about shopping early for Christmas. In fact, I've already bought 2 Christmas presents.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get to know what they are until
Christmas. Right. Well, as is the normal custom of Christmas time.
And then you have to find the pickle.
That's a German tradition.
Yeah, unless you talk to a German, they
Oh.
have no idea what we're talking about. There was a German foreign exchange student. So in our family at Christmas times, we typically hide a pickle in the Christmas tree. Oh, does your family do this, Ashley?
We don't.
Okay. Well, you can buy ornaments now like that are shaped as pickles.
Yeah, I've seen the like tradition or whatever.
Yeah, they're very decorative. They're like they're the same color as most trees are, you know. And what you do is you hide the ornament inside the tree, and on Christmas morning, the first child to find the pickle gets to open the first present.
Fun.
And we were told growing up that it was a German tradition,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, there was a foreign exchange student that came to Ponca City from Germany that Shonda and I got to host in our house for a night. She came over and we grilled a steak and stuff like that, and we, talked all about where she was from and talked about our grandma being from Germany and being an immigrant to come over here and I somehow the subject of the pickle came up, and she said they had just heard about the Christmas pickle the year before. And somebody from America had told them about it. And they're like, we didn't know that this was a tradition in Germany. So they went and got a pickle from their house, like from their refrigerator, and stuck it in the Christmas tree and had been sitting in there for like a month. And then nobody could find the pickle.
That'll happen if you
So
use a real pickle.
The real pickle got packed away with the Christmas tree, and they'll find it I guess last year. I don't know.
Wonder how that turned out. We should call her.
Yeah.
Grandma Wade is actually in town right now,
I know.
and I got to spend the evening with her last night. I learned a lot about our family history.
Oh, last night you guys did?
Mm-hmm.
I'm having her over on Friday.
Well, ask some questions about history. We'll see if we can compare notes.
Did you hear the boys asking her questions at
Yes,
the
that
4th of July?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
There was a grandma sitting at the head of the table, and just all of the kids, all of our kids, boys and girls, were the cousins, right?
Right.
Were sitting around the table asking her, well, why did you come here?
Right.
And
So our grandma immigrated from Germany in the late 1940s. So,
it was right after World War II.
right.
Yeah. Her dad was a translator for the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
He translated German script to English while they were over there
Right.
fighting.
Right. Did you know that OPA
Opa?
or War OPA, depending on our great grandfather, actually was over here in the 20s before he came over in the 40s. He came over once in the 20s, then went back, got married to a German woman, and then,
Oma.
well, I should say, he went back after, like, he came over in the 20s, brought his brother over with him, his brother Ted, went back.
Ted. What a traditional German name.
Right. went back to Germany, met his future wife, took her with him as missionaries. They went into China. He got married in China December 27th to his wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they came back to Germany, and that's when he started working in aviation and some of the other things, engineering, and worked his way up, and then started, writing script, translating script for the Americans, and that whole thing happened. But what's funny is that our parents got married in Israel December 27th. And what I found out was the reason they picked December 27th was because of Opa and Oma getting married December 27th in China.
Fascinating.
That's cool.
Little interesting factoid about
Little
the Garrisons.
Family history.
Yeah.
Did you know that we would be sitting down and having a conversation about family history this morning?
I didn't. Well, you just never really know. Those cold opens.
I surprise you sometimes.
You do. Every time.
Yeah.
So.
Merry Christmas. It's July.
Merry Christmas from
From the Failing
the
Podcast.
Failing Podcast.
Bye.
Welcome.
Fresh out the box. Stop.
Look and watch. Ready yet? Get set. It's
The Failing Podcast.
Eat My Schlag.
Not the mama.
Goodbye.
This Christmas, who knows?
Who knows? You might be listening to reruns.
The rerun of the Failing Podcast.
But like the original Star Trek.
Listen, if
one
you're
season only.
if you're listening to this as a rerun, go ahead and cue in. If you like us enough that you listened to us twice, that really is going to bless my heart.
Wow.
Yeah, my heart will be blessed.
Wow.
And also, I want to know who you are, because if you like me that much, we should probably be friends. You think?
Well, let's do a background check first.
Well, yeah. I mean, safety first.
You never know.
See something, say something.
One of those 4 people out there could be your stalker.
Listen, if I have a stalker, go ahead and just cue in. I just like to go ahead and know about that.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
so you know something that you do during the summertime?
Huh?
You know something you do during the summertime? You like to get wet.
That's
And this summer, we've had more getting wet than we could ever deal with.
oh boy.
Boy, have we.
Wow.
It's been so rainy.
Wet.
Wet.
Wet rain.
Your feet are wet.
You know what
Your head is wet.
everybody keeps saying?
They keep saying, thank
Oh,
goodness
thank
for all
goodness
this
we
rain.
really needed this rain.
We needed it.
I wonder, like, we must have been really low.
We were in real trouble
It must have been bad.
because, boy, it has been raining.
We have gotten a lot of rain.
It rained all the way through May.
Yep.
It's rained all the way through June.
Yep.
And now we're sitting at a week of rain in July.
Yep.
I think the ponds are full. The cows are no longer thirsty.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true because people could keep saying, well, we do need the rain.
In Ponca
Is
City,
that just what you say?
I don't know. I do people that actually don't know whether or not we need the rain say we need the rain? Because I was talking to a farmer the other day that said that it'd been real good, and now all of a sudden the wheat's starting to not grow because it's not getting the sunshine.
Oh,
Yeah. It's a bad deal. So
we need wheat.
that wheat farmer
I
decided
don't know. Would
that
you
it was
rather
time
have?
to...
Would you rather have bread or water?
I don't know. I think I'm actually allergic to wheat. I haven't found out for sure, but I have this sneaking suspicion. I'm really worried about it.
Why?
But you're
Well,
gluten sensitive?
Yeah, I don't want to be gluten sensitive.
I
you
like
don't-
saying you're allergic to wheat better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because gluten's got kind of a negative connotation to it. Like,
Well,
oh, he's one of those gluten people.
maybe. I just
My
never
wife
heard.
has to eat gluten free. She has a.
I know. She's so woke.
She is woke.
She's so woke.
Shonda Rochelle,
Gluten free.
gluten free.
I don't
Well,
know.
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if it's actually the wheat or if it's the stuff that they put in with the wheat that is what's making the wheat. You know what
Kill
I mean?
everyone. Why is
Yeah.
Like,
why
what
is
if
the
I'm
wheat the
what
problem
if
all
I'm
of a
not
sudden?
allergic to the wheat? I'm allergic to the preservatives they're putting in the bread that's making the
That's
wheat.
very likely.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Maybe that's a woke thing to say, but what if gluten is just preservatives?
that
and
you
they're
have
trying to
to- I
convince
don't-
you that it's weak.
I don't think you're necessarily woke. I think that you just
I'm worried about preservatives.
right.
I've
Woke
got
up,
some,
people.
Yeah.
Preservatives.
Ashley has some opinions on those things.
Well,
No.
I was not that we're getting into that because we don't like to discuss controversial issues here on the Failing Podcast.
No, we try and avoid that.
We try to avoid that,
We like to talk about things that everybody likes.
like pools.
Right. Who doesn't like a pool?
Who doesn't like a pool?
Well, that's the reason that we've gotten all this rain this year.
Right. It's because we
Mom
actually
and Dad bought a house with a pool.
we have access to a pool for the first time ever.
Like real access. Like we can use it whenever we want.
Like not like begging your neighbor. Hey, do you
Right.
mind if we come over and swim for a
Like
while?
showing up in your flip flops and swimming trunk with your shirt off. Like, hey, it would be really awkward if I was standing on your front porch
No,
and I wasn't going swimming. So let's go ahead and fix this.
I will say that Ponca City we have access to a lot of community pools.
Oh, we do. Yeah.
So there are options, and then there's like 5 splash pads, and we have a lake with a swim
Sure,
beach.
but we've
and-
never been this bougie before, though. Like we've done all of the public pools.
Absolutely, and we've always been. I mean, we're
We're very
happy-
pro public
pro
pool.
public pool. Everybody should have a place to
PPP.
cool down.
We are PPP.
But
the
we've
3 Ps, pro public
we-
pool.
we have now moved. We have now moved into a new time in life where we have opportunity and availability to swim in a private pool.
Yes, and that's why it's been raining so
Right.
much.
Right. Now that's
It's like if somebody washes their car, they get the credit.
Right.
Well, this summer, Garrisons get all the credit. We got access to a pool, hence the rain.
I really enjoyed the private pool.
I have too.
The only problem I think that there is with it is kids in a private pool are different than kids in a public pool.
Well, it's because they don't have the lifeguard to yell at them.
Right. They don't have a lifeguard to yell at them. They don't have as many other kids to play with.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There are big flotation devices that are usually in it,
Right.
that wouldn't be in a public pool.
Mm-hmm.
At least not. I don't recall there being like giant flamingos or
I
sharks.
don't think that you're
or-
allowed to have those
Yeah,
in
that's
public
not a
pools.
thing.
Yeah. I imagine that they're not okay because it's hard to see a kid when they're underneath the floaty,
Right.
and so it's a whole different level of stress, keeping up with where your kids are. And you don't exactly get a lot of great pool time when your kids are in the pool with you because they're usually asking you to spin them in circles or throw them or can you catch me when I jump
Right.
but don't make sure my face doesn't go underwater.
Right. Yeah, no phase underwater.
Please, Dad, I would like to jump off the side of this pool, and I want you to catch me,
Right.
but I want you to make sure that my whole body goes underwater except for my face.
Yeah, and when you say except for my face, I mean if you get a little splash on there,
not
you're
even
in trouble.
Not even a little.
A little
There
bit of
better not be a little bit of splash. So, my son Ari's jumping into the pool, right, and I am catching him so he gets no splash on his face. He's wearing his, if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm showcasing floaties, the flotation device on arms
Across the chest.
across the chest, which is much different than the floaties that we grew up with.
Yeah, you had to blow them in.
Yeah, just blow them up on
Over the
both
arms.
sides,
And they
over the
pinched.
arms. Yeah, they pinch you a little bit. They were
So
a little
like
hot,
A little
sticky.
worse than a blood pressure cuff.
Yeah,
Cut off the circulation to your hands.
We worked to get out of floaties as quick as we possibly could.
Yes.
Because the last thing you wanted to do was have an inflatable thing on your arms, and they slipped and slid and all the other things. Now the floaties now are like foolproof. It's like, a piece of styrofoam
Yeah.
that's on the
Yeah,
inside that
there's some very cool kid life jackets out there.
they are. I mean, they run across the
Whole
chest,
other
so you're like
level.
floating in a
Right.
different.
You float in
yeah,
every
float-
direction.
You
Yeah.
float
Yeah.
up. The thing about floaties when we were kids is you could float down.
Right.
So much
You
dangerous.
still had to do a lot of
You
work.
still had to do some work
Yeah.
to keep yourself above water. Now they
Why
don't,
don't
have
they
to
make
work for
adult size ones that go around your arms like that?
it. Maybe we should come up with that. So we could
Just
monetize it.
and then a spot like
A
that,
spot for
that juts
a
out for
koozie.
a koozie.
Koozie
You just
Yeah.
put your beer in.
I like that.
Little floating tray.
Well, so Ari is jumping off the side of the pool. Okay.
Then you wouldn't have to worry about being on a big cushion. You could just lounge in it, and the lounger's around you, and you got your
Ben wants to keep
brewski
talking
in
about
front of you.
the floaty. It's a great idea.
Should we draw it out
We probably should, but we should probably do it before this goes out
and patent it?
and patent it because somebody else is going to take it and run.
All right, failing
You heard it here first. If it comes out
If it
after
comes
we've
out,
talked
yeah,
about
we,
it,
I mean,
we've got it.
it's in there.
What's it called? Intellectual property.
Right.
It's intellectual property. So if you're going to do it, you need to talk to us first. We'll go in on it together.
Yeah, let's partner.
We'll partner on that.
Yeah.
Should I get back to my story about Ari?
Really excited about this.
Well, I
flotation,
mean, think
but-
about what has happened so far. My story has now brought on the idea of a flotation device that's going to make us a lot of money. Let's see what the rest of the story brings.
Right. So far, Ari is frozen in the air as
Midair.
Luke's arms are reached out to
He's
catch
hovering.
him. Yeah, he's just
Well,
waiting.
Yes, that's true. Although I don't know if I said he jumped.
Oh, sorry.
Let's say he jumped. Let's say I said he jumped.
I just
so
thought
that-
the mental image was funnier
I
than
kind of
him
like
waiting
that.
on the side. Yeah.
I like that. So he's jumping to me, right? And my job is to catch him in the armpits, make sure half of him goes underwater, and then that's not where it stops. No, he wants a spin move there.
Oh,
So it's
you're in charge of the 360.
yes, I've got to do this kind of 360 spin and then let him off gently so that he can swim back to the stairs and do it over again.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my responsibility in the pool. And I'll tell you, I did it flawlessly
I believe you.
at least 15 times in a row.
Luke, I got to catch Ari several times too.
Well, I was just going to tell you about what happened. So, because here's the thing. Like, even if you catch him 15 times perfectly,
Uh-huh.
the one time you don't,
You're
it's
fired.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, boy, I should have got fired a long time ago.
Sure.
You know, it stopped me from having
Is
to
this
stand
because
here.
I'm the one that had to do it after
Yeah, I
that.
liked that part. That was my favorite part. But you know what's funny is he jumped in, he just kind of slipped a little, you know, and so as I took him, I kind of come around and I spun a little quicker than probably I was supposed to, and water splashed up and just a little bit trickled into his face. And my wife was not happy with me.
Oh, it was your fault?
Of course it was my fault.
Oh.
Of course, because I spun him too fast, or it wasn't the absolute, it wasn't the fact that I was given an impossible task.
You were. There's water everywhere.
That, I'm surrounded by, I'm literally
I know. In a pool.
engulfed
Yeah.
in water.
Yeah.
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 And I'm trying to catch and keep a very specific part of a little boy free of water.
Mm-hmm.
He's not wearing anything protecting him.
No.
It's not like there's a glass shield or a bubble around his head to ensure that his face doesn't get wet.
There's another invention idea. A bubble that goes around your child's head. I don't know.
I don't know. We have to figure out how to make that work.
We'll
I
figure
don't. So,
Maybe an oxygen tank.
Isn't that called a helmet?
no, this one would be waterproof
Oh, okay.
and
It's a
face.
waterproof face shield?
So, anyway, but I come around and it was Luke. You got water on his face. Oh, I'm sorry. He's crying because
Uh-huh.
because
Because you failed.
Well, it's because water is acid and it's burning him somehow, right?
Yeah. No. I got in trouble with him later on.
You did for the same thing.
No. I was doing it for Charlotte.
Uh-huh.
The same thing. She must have seen. The,
No, I'm pretty sure Charlotte's the one that introduced this because it's
Okay.
kind of a princessy thing to introduce in the first
Well-
place. Ari just thought it looked fun and he went for it,
Ari jumped to me and I just stepped out of the way.
Yep, that'll do
He
it.
went right in the pool.
Right.
All the way.
He probably didn't like that.
He was not happy.
I believe you.
And I thought Ari was a good swimmer. He's a good sinker.
Was he wearing his floaty?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's the important thing. Those things are really protective. So, I don't know. I remember, swimming for an adult is very different than swimming as a kid. Swimming for adults, it's more relaxing, right?
Well, it depends on if you're actually swimming or if you're just floating.
Floating for an adult is definitely different than swimming for a kid.
Yes.
Or pool time for an adult is different than pool time for a kid.
Yes.
Pool time for an adult, it's just relaxing.
Well, you heard my flotation device
Right.
idea.
I love your
I've
idea.
definitely got a very good mind for how best to relax.
Well, but then the second that you try to do that type of relaxing with kids in the pool, they believe that you are a life raft
right.
on which they should be floating on,
Uh-huh.
or a buoy.
Or
Or-
you're like the iceberg.
Yeah.
And they're like the little seal.
Right. They want to be on it, in it, around it, upon it.
Uh-huh.
You are the thing that they...
And they
Use.
also they're not happy just laying and relaxing. That
Oh,
would be
no.
fine.
No.
No, they're paddling you around or splashing you as a target.
Right. Or if you have boys, they're fighting on top of you and playing King of the Mountain.
Right.
Right. Or King of the Island.
Right.
Or King of the Iceberg.
It's like, why is there such a huge mountain on this island? Oh, it's my dad.
That's my dad.
Oh.
That big belly. This is the whitest snow-capped mountain I've ever seen.
You know, I just got done with my vacation in which a lot of swimming was involved.
Yeah.
We went on a cruise. Did we talk about this last podcast? I don't remember.
I think we talked a little bit about it.
Well, one thing I noticed is I came home a lot more tired
Yeah.
than when I left.
Yeah. Vacationing with kids is not fun.
No. It's not.
It's not. You have to know going into it, this is what I'm doing, and it's for the kids.
Right.
Because vacationing with kids is for the kids, not for the
Well,
adults.
yeah, it's turned into, it's not our vacation anymore. It's like, I'm starting to figure out more and more that growing up is just like, when we were kids, we had it made.
Right.
No stress, no anxiety. You know what my kids did this morning?
They got up.
Made themselves a bowl of Cheerios.
Right.
And have been sitting in their underwear on the couch ever since.
Sounds like a dream.
When is the last time you got to sit on your underwear in your underwear on the couch?
The last time I got to sit in my underwear on the couch.
Yeah, and just like all morning. Don't have to do anything.
Generally, I'm not ever allowed to sit in my underwear on the couch because my teenage daughter tells me, Dad, put some shorts on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so step one, kids got it better. Right?
Definitely.
I mean, whatever the entertainment is for them, I got up, I got to, get dressed and go to work.
Right. That's what I
Even
do, too.
on my vacation days from work,
Uh-huh.
I still have stuff to do.
Definitely.
Right?
But, I mean, we're getting up, we're getting things ready, we're
Yeah.
taking care of kids, we're doing all that we need to.
Well, and then you go on vacation where you're leaving all of your responsibility behind,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really just like a business trip. Because
Yes.
your kids are coming with you,
And
and
they are the
you're-
business.
Yes, you're working them through, making sure they get to experience everything.
It's a lot of work to leave town, I will also say.
Yeah,
Like, you have to do so much prep work to leave on a vacation.
Yeah, to be prepared.
So
I don't know.
exhausting.
So my daughter gets mad at me every time I tell her I'm going to take my wife, Micah, to Disney.
mm-hmm.
And that
Like,
I'm
how
lea-
dare you do that?
that
without
I'm
them?
leaving. I'm leaving all of them.
Right.
It's just going to be me and her.
Yeah.
And I am so excited about that idea.
No, it sounds really fun.
I think it would be.
Right.
But she gets so mad because she's like, Disney is a place for children. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but it's also a place to get away from children.
Do you remember when our parents went to Disney without us when we were kids?
No. Well, I guess maybe I do now that you're saying it.
we didn't know about it.
Were
It
we
was
upset?
Yes.
I bet we were.
Mom and Dad, they bought the picture,
How dare you?
the coveted picture from Splash Mountain.
Ah,
Remember
that's
they
right. They
coming
went with
down,
Dave and Pam.
And they went with Dave and Pam Shepardson, and they had it, and it was in an envelope the next day.
Yeah,
And they had it there.
we found it.
And, I mean, for years, we've been going to Disney and asking for the picture
Right.
of Splash Mountain.
Right. We never bought it.
Never bought it, but parents went, by gosh, they got a souvenir picture. That was, in and of itself, a betrayal.
A betrayal.
Right. But then you throw in the fact that they went to Disney and didn't even tell us about it.
Right.
Betrayal. So I can kind of see Abby's side of thinking.
I
here.
do.
Like,
I do. I just, there's a piece of me that applies the logic to it. And now I know what mom and dad were thinking.
oh, absolutely. They were thinking, this is the most fun we've ever had at Disney.
Probably because we're not doing exactly what our kids want to do.
Right.
We're getting to do some things that are fun. And, mind you, like, there is no greater pleasure than parenting, right? There is no greater joy than raising up children and doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
But I also kind of understand why
Here.
kind of understand why people choose not to do it.
Is there an
Um,
opt-out button?
Now, I don't think that's right. I think
No.
every person. I
well,
think
it just comes down to a level of like.
I think it's responsibility.
well, it is
I don't
it
know.
is selflessness to have a child. You have to dedicate yourself to being selfless for the next 18 years.
Yes.
Ish. And then also trying to raise a member of society that's not going to turn around and be terrible.
Yeah, it'd be crappy.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that's where I say that there is obligation, I think, in some senses, if you can, because obviously there are people out there that can't have children, and that's a whole different issue.
Yeah.
But if you're able, and you're married and you're able to have children, like, do it because somebody has got to
Sure. Well, society as a whole, like we have a serious underpopulation issue. Right?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is we got to at least replace yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, give us two that are kind of like you, especially if you're cool. Like, we want a couple that are going to be out there going to do the work.
I was watching an interview with Elon Musk the other day, and he said that the biggest threat to civilization is underpopulation in the world.
Well,
right
that's
now.
why he's making robots.
Yeah. Yeah, his belief is the biggest threat to society, not AI, not any of these other things that you would expect, somebody in his line of work to say. He says it is underpopulation of the U.S.
I didn't
People
know-
are not reproducing the way that they were,
Wow.
Well, yeah, but it's been an issue for some time.
and it's been a steady decline
Right.
for the last
Really?
40 or 50 years.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep. Ever since the baby boom in the 1940s.
yeah. He said underpopulation is the biggest threat to the United States.
I don't know. I think that there's a reason that there's tax write-offs for having children, and this is that. Like the whole idea is that it's supposed to encourage people to have.
Incentivizing.
Yeah, it's supposed to encourage people to have children because they get a tax write-off for it. And so. But at the same time, like the rich don't benefit from those tax write-offs as much as the middle class and the poor, or the poor do. And I don't know. Again, we're getting political. There's probably no need for that. But all because we said, boy, sometimes I understand why people don't want to raise kids.
Yeah, we tend to chase rabbits
We do
pretty
chase
far
those
here.
rabbits. Fly is the 90s phrase of the day.
Oof.
Pretty fly.
I mean, if you were good looking
Mm-hmm.
in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
you were fly.
You're pretty fly.
Where did that come from?
The origin is actually from 1998. It's a song called by The Offspring called "Pretty Fly for a White Guy."
No way. That's
Yeah,
not the origin.
When I looked it up, that's what I found as far as the origin goes. I don't know if it was the first use. I'm sure it was probably used before, but it was popularized by The Offspring in 1998. Pretty fly for a white guy.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, so fly was kind of the thing that you said, hey, you're fly, hey, you're just attractive, or you could even say, something looks cool. Hey, that's pretty fly.
If you see your wife this evening, go home, let her know she's pretty fly.
Right. Pretty fly for a white gal.
Get a
Or
lie.
not. Pretty fly.
Fly. Just being fly.
Just being fly.
All right, that's it. We'll see you next week.
That's it. Next week it is.
Bye. Great job.
That's at least 2 episodes, right? That was an hour and 6 minutes of content, so I should hope so.
Oh, goodness.
The Following Podcast.
Eat my short. Not the mama. Not the mama.
Goodbye.